Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Gerald here with your weather forecast on this Wednesday evening, and we've got a pretty good amount to talk about today. Although you might be wondering why that is right now, because we really have this beautiful springtime weather that has overtaken just about the entire lower 48, other than a couple of areas along the Gulf Coast and back out west. But this is going to change. I will warn you ahead of time. So right now, I'll just tell you, if you have not gone outside, go ahead and do it. Even if that means you don't watch this video, go out there, enjoy some of the sunshine, kind of soak up some of that springtime weather, because unfortunately spring doesn't last forever, and I don't want late August coming around and you think to yourself, well, I really wish I was outside back in April whenever it was 80 and sunny. Now it's 95 and sunny, and I don't want to do anything outside, because I can guarantee it's going to happen. It happens to me every year. I kind of ignore the nice springtime weather, then August rolls around and I wish I had it back. So don't let that be you. Definitely go out there and enjoy it, even if that means just going for a walk around the block. With that said, though, let's go ahead and discuss some of the things that we're going to talk about today. So, we do have some low pressure moving inland from the Gulf of Mexico right now, and that is going to help to cause a chance of some severe weather tomorrow into sections of the southeast. I'll break that down for you. And then we have another storm system on the way going later into this week, and that will bring some severe weather chances back out into the plains, as well as sections of the Midwest and the Mississippi River Valley. So, we're also going to discuss that as well. And that's kind of the game plan for today's video. I'll also give you a breakdown of that temperature forecast throughout the rest of this week. So with that said, also, if you haven't already subscribed, definitely consider doing so and make sure to hit that like button. But let's go ahead and get right into your forecast. So taking a look at radar here on the national scale, it is really nice looking, but things are quite different down here along the Gulf of Mexico. So you'll notice we have this big area of kind of thunderstorm activity stretching really from Houston all the way back down to Miami, and even sections of the Bahamas right now, getting in on some of those showers and thunderstorms. And whenever we take a look at satellite here, you look at this down here and you're like, man, this almost looks like it's kind of July, August, September. That's really what this looks like on satellite right now. And you can tell this front is continuing to kind of stay stalled out here over the Gulf of Mexico. And whenever we're getting this air to push up against that front coming from different directions, that air begins to rise and begins to rotate, and we're getting this low pressure to form here with that convergence there along that front. So that's what we're dealing with right now, and this low pressure that is beginning to spin up here is going to eventually work its way inland going into tonight, tomorrow, and Friday, bringing the chance of some severe weather into sections of the southeast and just some good old-fashioned rain for others. And I'll break that down for you. Tomorrow we'll have one round. I think also Friday we might also have some severe weather potentially into sections of the Carolinas as well with that, but we'll talk about that right now, I guess. So we'll start with that, and then we'll move on to the other stuff. But looking at tomorrow and tomorrow's convection outlook here from the Storm Prediction Center, we do have a marginal risk here from Atlanta, Birmingham, back down into central Florida and the Florida Panhandle. And I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, to get or see this get upgraded to a slight risk into this region tomorrow, where we're going to have some pretty feisty storms fire up in that area, and our latest models are really indicating that. So let's go ahead and look at this future cast. Again, right now that rain is in those places that we just looked at on radar. Going into tonight, I expect that rain to really begin to move inland as this low pressure begins to move inland. And with it, going into really starting tomorrow morning and into tomorrow afternoon, you're going to get these kind of feeder bands of sorts, if you will, beginning to work up into sections of southern Georgia and those other parts of that marginal risk we looked at. And by the time we get into tomorrow afternoon, these really look quite feisty. Some of these cells from Savannah back over towards Macon and the Talladega area, these look pretty feisty, I'll just tell you. I wouldn't be surprised to see a couple tornado warnings tomorrow here in southern Georgia with these things, and even if we don't get that, we're likely going to get some strong winds with these storms, and of course, like I just said, that isolated tornado risk, although I don't think hail will be too big of an issue. So this will be much like kind of the threat that you get whenever those tropical storms move inland, and we have those kind of tornado setups. This is going to be a very similar setup tomorrow afternoon. And then as we get into tomorrow evening, that rain continues to move up into sections of Georgia and eventually the Carolinas overnight Thursday into Friday. And even as we get into Friday afternoon, look at this, other area of these feisty storms firing up near Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina. So Friday could also be a severe weather day here in the Carolinas. Would not surprise me at all tomorrow to see that threat map introduced to these regions. And again, it would be the same threat that we see in Georgia tomorrow with some isolated strong winds and isolated tornadoes. So we'll definitely have to watch that for Friday as well. This is as far out of this map goes, but as we get into Friday evening, this rain will continue to move up into the Carolinas. And I'll show you that here on this next map that we look at. So this is going to be the national view. So we're going to kind of zoom this out a little bit, but again, going into tomorrow, we're going to get that low pressure to move inland, introducing those showers and storms into the southeast. And then as we get into Friday, that works up into the Carolinas, and then overnight Friday, that finally begins to diminish a little bit, although still likely kind of moving up the I-95 corridor and bringing some rain chances really from anywhere from South Carolina up through Maryland, seeing that increased chance of some showers out of that system starting really Thursday through Saturday as it continues to move up. So the other component of this weather map here that we're looking at is going to be this area of low pressure and this trough that begins to dive into the plains going into really tomorrow, but really Friday is whenever we're really going to see this begin to mature. So you'll see this begin to come out of the Rockies, and as we get into Friday afternoon, we're going to get this area of storms to develop back out here, and this will introduce the severe weather threat for some of these areas, as well as the chance of some snow appear into the northern Great Plains. So that'll be Friday. We'll see those severe weather chances from Kansas City down to Oklahoma and Dallas. And then as we bring this into Saturday afternoon, that threat then moves towards the Mississippi River Valley from kind of Little Rock, Memphis, back up to St. Louis, Paducah, Springfield, and those places also having that chance of severe weather on Saturday. And then still getting some of this snow on the back end of this up into the northern Great Plains. So you'll notice this is a pretty defined front here that we are going to have as this moves on through. And with that, we are going to get a big surge of warm air during Friday and Saturday through the southeast and east coast, but on the backside of this, we're going to get this cold air to funnel in, and we'll have a more below average later half of the weekend and early next week, just depending on when the front moves in for your location. So looking at Saturday, again, moving through the Mississippi River Valley, and then as we get into Sunday, then moving through the kind of Ohio, Tennessee River Valley and across the Appalachian chain, and that will be, or continue into overnight Sunday and then into Monday, finally moving on through the northeast before clearer weather looks to return going into next Tuesday and Wednesday. So again, to recap, some severe weather here into the southern half of this storm system starting really Friday and going into Saturday, and then some snow on the northern end up here into the Dakotas, Minnesota, Iowa, and Wisconsin. And we'll look at the snowfall total map in a day or two, just as we get a little bit closer and we feel a little bit more confident in those snow totals. But then again, on the backside of this, just to mention, drier air moves in as well as colder air. So I'm taking a look at some of those places that will see those storms. This is for Friday. Again, that threat area really from Nebraska all the way down towards sections of Texas having that chance of some of those severe storms. And again, I wouldn't be surprised to see a marginal risk issued here into the Carolinas as well on Friday afternoon. Then going into Saturday, that threat shifts over here towards those areas that we just talked about, really from kind of Jackson, Mississippi, up through southern Illinois, having the greatest chance of seeing those strong storms on Saturday. And I should mention, any of these storms here on Friday and Saturday do have the chance of producing large hail damaging winds, as well as a couple tornadoes are definitely possible through these general places. So the other big time story with this is these temperatures. So again, we have this warm weather right now, other than some of those that will be experiencing this kind of rain tomorrow and Friday. That'll cool us down and bring us to a bit more average to below average temperatures. But after that moves on through and this front is beginning to push east, look at this big area of warm temperatures beginning to surge northward up into the East Coast. So Saturday right now looks like a very warm day along the East Coast and a relatively nice day as well, other than the severe storms that we're dealing with back out towards the Mississippi River Valley. But after this front moves on through, bringing this through, you can see those colder than average temperatures funnel in behind for our Monday and our Tuesday as well. And that will stick around for a little bit before I think we then kind of begin to rebound, at least in sections of the lower 48 as we go later into next week. So that's all I've really got. Just to do a quick recap, again, this low pressure is moving into the Gulf Coast right now. That will bring some rain and some severe storms over the next couple of days. Other than that, really nice spring weather right now until that next front begins to really churn through on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, bringing some storms, some rain, and some cooler temperatures to start next week. So that's what we know right now, and I'll make sure to keep you updated over the next couple of days, and definitely make sure to come back for tomorrow's video. And with that said, I will see you all then.